All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Happy New Day, world. Happy New Day, y'all. It's Sabrina J. Lewis coming at you live. Listen, I am sleepy today. I am sleepy. I am tired. But I'm thankful to be alive and well. I said that I would be here. I am late, so excuse me for being late today. Okay. But I am here. And we are going to get into Humble Consulting by Mr. Edgar Sheen. I'm not going to add too much to my commentary today. I did that yesterday. I am here to inspire you as you're on your journeys today with some information on how you can provide real help faster. We're in chapter 3. Okay. We're talking about the need for a trusting and open level 2 relationship. Okay, make sure you have your water, your tea, your coffee, whatever you drink, and let's go. Water is life. All right. To fully understand how Humble Consulting HC is different requires a short journey into a bit of cultural analysis. We begin with what is a relationship in the first place. Then we identify 4 broad levels of relationship that are more or less identifiable in every society. And then home in on level 2 as the key to humble consulting. All right. We're on page 27, chapter 3, humble consulting. What is a relationship? What do we mean by trust and openness? We use the words relationship, trust, and openness glibly and frequently, as if we think that everyone will, of course, understand what that means or what we mean. Yet, when we ask someone to define any of these 3 words, we get either a blank stare, a disdainful look, implying that we must be stupid, or definitions that don't really explain anything that don't even agree with one another. It's true. When we look at these words, when we look these words up in a dictionary or in other words, we find equally vague terms like connection, mutual dependence, or linkage. The problem is that these terms are too abstract and can have many different meanings in different cultures and different situations. For purposes of understanding HC, we're saying HC for humble consulting. We need to focus on what these terms mean in a situation where one person is trying to help another person on a complex problem in such a way that it will turn out to be really helpful. A relationship is a set of a mutual expectations about each other's future behavior based on past interactions with one another. I have a relationship with you if I can more or less predict some of your behavior, and you can more or less predict some of my behavior. Okay? In a shallow relationship, that might include just a vague sense of knowing what each of us will do in a very deep relationship. Each of us also knows how the other thinks, feels, and values things. In a shallow relationship, I can only trust you to harm me and not to lie to me. In a good working relationship, I need to be able to predict how much I can count on you to make and keep your commitments, like me today, right? And how open and reliable you will be in your communication with me, right? Like I came on, I said I was gonna be here at 8:30 every day. I came in at about 8:50, right? I'm committed to being here, and I also apologize for being late because I know some of you have to be to work at a certain time. And I said I would give 30 minutes, but today I'm gonna go over to make up for my time. One could say that we One could say that when we have a good relationship, this means that we feel a certain level of comfort with one another. Comfort that is based on a sense of each of us knowing how the other will react and that we are both working toward a goal that we have agreed upon. That feeling of comfort is often what we mean by the word trust. Relationship is an interactive concept and must therefore be analyzed from a sociological point of view of interactions. It is not enough for one party to say, I feel I have a connection, relationship with you, if the other party does not feel that connection. Unrequited love is not a relationship, but a casual friendship can be a relationship. If I trust my boss, but he does not trust me, there is no relationship. If I am quite open with my boss, but he is not open with me, there is no relationship. For a relationship to work, there must be some symmetry in mutual expectations, a symmetry that is worked out over time with a series of interactions that serve as a kind of test of how deep the relationship is to be. I cannot determine how much to trust you and how open to expect you to be with me if we have not had a series of interactions where our observations of each other serve as little tests in the process of building the relationship. When we say that a relationship can be casual or deep, we are acknowledging the key insight that relationships exist on a dimension where at one extreme we have minimal predictability and virtually no emotional involvement. And at the other extreme, we have we have very intense emotional involvement and can predict quite a lot about each other. This point is critical because when we get to the issue of how to build a relationship, we have to recognize that it is ultimately a joint responsibility and that the building process is a series of interactions where each party is empirically, implicitly measuring the depth of the relationship after each interaction. Let me drink some more water, y'all. Thank you, thank you. The depth of a relationship is a mutual decision based on the comfort level that each party arrives at thorough at wait, what? Okay. The depth of a relationship is a mutual decision based on the comfort level that each party arrives at through interaction. We all are quite sensitive when a relationship is going too far or when it is failing because one or the other person is not willing to go farther or has done something unexpected and unacceptable. If we are trying to define how to be really helpful to each other, it becomes useful to consider what level of trust and openness will be required in the relationship. So, this book again is for everyone, not just health professionals or CEOs, COOs, or an organization. It's for all of us, coaches, mentors, to help people like provide real help faster. Okay, again, page 29, chapter 3. We're talking about the need for a trusting and open level 2 relationship. Culturally defined levels of relationship, trust, and openness. All societies have ways of stratifying their citizens in terms of rank, status, and expected degree of connectedness. Levels of trust and openness in relationships. Level -1. This is a table that's pretty much just showing examples of levels of relationship. So level -1 is a negative hostile relationship exploitation. An example would be prisoners, POWs, slaves, members of different cultures, elderly or emotionally ill people, the victims or marks for criminals or con men. That's level -1. So level 1 would be acknowledgement, civility, transactional and professional role relations. Examples are strangers on the street, seatmates on trains and planes, service people whose help we need, professional helpers such as doctors and lawyers. A comment: we do not know one another as individuals, but treat each other as fellow humans whom we trust to a certain degree, not to harm us, and with whom we have polite levels of openness in the conversation. Professional helpers such as doctors and lawyers fall into this category because their role definition requires them to maintain a professional distance. A level 2 example, level 2 is recognition as a unique person. Examples are people whom we know as individuals, coworkers, clients, bosses, subordinates, whom we have gotten to know personally, but not intimately through work, through common work or educational experiences, casual friendships. Comment: this kind of relationship implies a deeper level of trust and openness in terms of making and honoring commitments and promises to each other, agreeing not to undermine each other or harm what we are endeavoring to do. And 3, agreeing not to lie to each other or withhold information relevant to our task. Level 3, Close friendships, love, and intimacy. Examples: relationship with strong positive emotions. Comment: intimacy implies more openness and not only no harm, but active support whenever needed. This kind of relationship is usually viewed as undesirable in work or in helping situations. It shows the levels of relationship from which we can build the level two working relationship concept that is necessary for HC, which is humble consulting. So -1 negative relationships. This level pertains not only to only to the unusual situation where we basically do not treat each other as human at all, as might be the case between a slave master and slaves, a prison guard and prisoners, or sadly, some caretakers of emotionally sick or elderly patients of a hospital or nursing home. In such organizational world, we would rarely expect to find exploitation or indifference, but we occasionally discover it in sweatshops, in the factories of some other countries, and unfortunately in the attitudes of some managers who view their employees as merely hired hands, leading some employees to characterize their work situation as inhumane. Level 1: transactional, bureaucratic, and professional relationships. Happy New Day, everyone. Hey, Instagram. Hey, Facebook. Hey, YouTube. Hey, y'all. All right. This large category is very much taken for granted by all of us, as our normal relationship to strangers. What we don't realize is that the psychological and social distance that we experience with strangers actually include a considerable degree of openness and trust based on the cultural rules of civility, good manners, tact, and political correctness that make commercial activities viable. We expect a great deal of one another in our various transaction relations when we have needs of service of various kinds. When we engage in the bureaucratic relationships of organizational life, and, most relevant to this analysis, in the role related relations that we call professional. As members of civilized society, we expect, at the minimum, to acknowledge one another as fellow humans. We expect others to notice our presence even if we don't know each other. Level 1 relationships are expected to be impersonal and relatively free of emotion. There are highly routine exchanges of give and take based on mutual expectations. I give you something, you say thank you, you ask me a question, I feel obligated to answer. This is so automatic that we notice it when it breaks down, when someone is not civil, or when someone gets too personal. Much helping behavior falls into this level 1, such as when we require to help the various service people to build, maintain, and fix things. When we need the help of salespeople, and we ask strangers for directions or for help with some chore. In all of these situations, we exhibit what I call level 1, trust, in that we expect civil behavior. We expect not to be taken advantage of, and we expect to be helped. We also assume level 1, openness, in that we expect accurate and helpful communication relevant to the request. We learn that these expectations and their associated rules of behavior apply situationally and according to the various roles we are in or we engage in. Are we just asking someone for directions, or are we requesting some specific service, as when we deal with a maintenance person, salesperson, or clerk? Level 1 relations get complicated when we deal with so called professional helpers, doctors, lawyers, ministers, and official human relations helpers, such as social workers, counselors, and psychiatrists. Professional distance and the asymmetry of professional relations. One of the main problems to day to day interactions with professionals is that they enjoy a special status associated with their education, knowledge, skill, and licenses to perform special helping services. We know this is true. With that status, let me drink some more water. I drink lemon water. So sometimes when you drink lemon water, you feel mucus and different things inside the body that just want to come out. But this is not the time. All right. So with that status goes the privilege that they can be as personal as their helping role requires. But the relationship is not symmetric. You cannot ask your doctors the same personal questions as they can ask you. Furthermore, they must act as if the most personal things you reveal about your situation must be treated impersonally, as just information relative to the diagnosis and treatment, not as personal, not as person details about you, right? This impersonality is strongly reinforced by the extensive societal rules about privacy. Even if the female patient reveals to her therapist that she is attracted to him, professionalism clearly prohibits the therapist from taking advantage of that information and getting into a more intimate relationship with her, even though we see it every day. The professional helper is bound by the norms and rules of that profession and would normally limit his inquiry to information relevant to the area of help. The urologist or dermatologist might get very personal about your recent sexual activity, but the orthopedic surgeon or dentist would normally not feel licensed to ask about it. All of this can be really helpful when the problem to be addressed is technical. However, these level one relationships break down when the consulting help involves complex organizational problems with the type one have described, with the type I have described. Maybe I need to put on my glasses. Where are they? When level one help is or is not helpful. Ooh, let's get into this. Level one professional relationships work only to the extent that the helper has correctly diagnosed the problem and has solutions available that will work. That in turn depends on whether the client has correctly identified the problem, has clearly conveyed what the problem is, and has chosen a helper who can work on that problem. What I have observed over and over again is that the client may feel at a disadvantage having to ask for help in the first place, and is therefore not trusting and open with you at the outset, and is likely to be highly motivated to reveal what is really on his mind. He has no particular reason to trust you until the two of you have interacted and he has calibrated how you have reacted to his initial request. He may not even be aware of what is really on his mind while he is busy testing the relationship to see whether it is safe to get more personal. This is Edward Sheen's 2009. The client asking you for help may even unwittingly content seduce you into your official area of expertise and thereby get you preoccupied with your own personal skills and agenda. You may feel flattered. You will be relieved that someone wants to employ you. You will perhaps see some much needed income ahead. You will be thinking about how much time or energy you have for this. You will wonder whether you will have to travel or where this call is coming from. But in all of this preoccupation with yourself and your role as helper, you probably will miss two other important thoughts or feelings. Does this request elicit a feeling of caring about the person? Or does this arouse your curiosity, either about the person or about the issue presented? If you jump in too fast with how you believe you can help, there is always the danger that you will begin to work on the wrong problem because you have not explored enough what is going on. You cannot assume that the client will be sufficiently trusting and open for you to get accurate diagnostic information on what the client's problem really is and what the client will actually do with what you might recommend. We know that even in regular medicine, patients withhold information because they are rushed in the diagnostic interview and don't tell the doctor where it really hurts, that they are too nervous to reveal some things, and that they can't really take the particular pills that were prescribed or follow a particular therapeutic routine. They may even lie that they have done what the doctor recommended because they don't trust the doctor to be sympathetic to their noncompliance. Because level one professional relationships encourage impersonality and politeness, the patient would not be expected to say, "Look, doctor, I feel rushed. You are not looking at me," right? Many times we go to the doctor's office and sometimes some physicians don't even look you in your eyes. They're looking down at the paper. Okay, so I see this happened last week and this happened last month and this is the medication you're taking, right? And so they say, because level one professional relationships encourage impersonality and politeness, the patient would not be expected to say, "Look, doctor, I feel rushed. You are not looking at me. So I don't feel able to tell you all I know about my condition." Instead, the patient would most likely feel that I don't like being rushed. I did forget to tell the doctor a few things that I remembered later at home, but she seemed to get all the information she needed, so I will trust her to know what she is doing. Unfortunately, wrong diagnosis and prescriptions that do harm do occur. Clients collude in this pathological process when they feel that there is also when they feel that they also have to be brief and efficient because they're being charged by the hour or because they attribute extraordinary diagnostic skills to the doctor. Again, you all, we are reading Humble Consultant by Mr. Edgar Sheen, How to Provide Real Help Faster. Unfortunately, much organizational and management consulting operates by these level one norms and procedures. The consultant comes in, accepts the assignment on the basis of what the client initially presents, uses all kinds of tools to do a formal diagnosis. The present formal, oh, no, let me go back. The consultant comes in, accepts the assignment on the basis of what the client initially presents, uses all kinds of tools to do a formal diagnosis, and presents formal recommendations. These procedures often get the client so dependent on the consultant's diagnostic process that the real underlying problem never surfaces. It is too late. It is then too late for the client to say out loud, "This is very interesting, but not exactly what I had in mind. I learned a lot, but I don't see how I can really use what you have recommended." This is level one, pseudo help that does not provide real help for complex problems. So what is level two? How much more is this? Let me see how much more this is. Let me see if I can get through it. So this is a long chapter on level two relationship. We are not going to get through all of this today. There's a couple of lessons. So yeah, this is a hefty chapter. And it's because we're dealing with relationships, communication, and being able to effectively help people. So we have to learn how to use the right type of communication. So I should have known this was going to be a long chapter. Okay. We're on page 36, chapter 3, the need for a trusting and open level 2 relationship. So what is level 2 relationship? Level 2 personal relationships. The essence of level 2 is that the client moves from being a case, a stranger who must be kept professionally distant, to being a unique person with whom you can have a more personal relationship. The essence of HC, Humble Consulting, is that the helper begins to build that relationship from the first contact by opening the door to personalization. By which I mean that both the client and the consultant begin to treat equals. The consultant does not engage in level one scouting, diagnosing, and analyzing, but immediately shows curiosity about and interest in the client and the client situation, because the goal is to find out as quickly as possible what is really going on in the client's mind. The consultant works to build that personal relationship from the beginning to increase the chances to identify a workable problem and to avoid going into a useless or harmful set of diagnostic processes and interventions. I see useless and dangerous diagnostic processes happen all the time, especially with culture creation and culture change programs. A manager calls a consultant to create a culture of teamwork or engagement or customer service, and the consultant offers a program. Neither one realizes that you cannot create culture unless you are the founder of a new group and impose your values in it. Even then, it does not become a culture unless the group is successful and those founder values come to be taken for granted. Time and money are spent on the diagnostic surveys, but unless the consultant finds out what the manager is really worried about, little useful help will have been provided. Getting personal in this context means that the consultant creates a conversation in which is more likely to come out just what is bothering the client, what she really wants to accomplish, and what kinds of things might be possible to do in the existing culture. The humble consultant does not open the door to anything personal, but tries to create a climate where the client might become trusting enough to reveal what is really bothering her and what kind of help she really needs. Of course, level two is a remarkably broad category that covers everything from the more personalized helping that I am advocating here to various kinds of friendships or even personal acquaintanceship with our level one transactional helpers. We get to know a repairman or salesman when we discover some common interests or past history and add to the formal relationship a level two personal element. The dilemma in defining such relationship in the helping context is that the personalization I am advocating has to occur around the mutual goal of helping and being really helped. When I learn about a stranger on a long airplane ride or when we share a long fire drill, it's personal, but it may not be relevant to a joint effort to solve that stranger's problems should he become a client. The level two relationship has to be built around a joint task that the helper and client are engaged in. It is bounded by the cultural rules that apply to situations of giving and receiving help. Those situational rules help define what we mean by trust and openness in the helping context. Happy New Day. Thank you. Good day to you too. Trust and openness level two. We do trust strangers up to a point. So what is so different about level two? What is so different about level two's trust and openness? There is nothing in a level one relationship that guarantees enough openness that you can count on others to tell you the truth as it pertains to the task, and most important, to volunteer information that may influence how well or safely the task is being accomplished. There is nothing in a level one relationship that guarantees that others will make promises and or commitments and keep the commitments. If we are engaging in a helping relationship, we need to achieve a level in which both the helper and client tell the truth, volunteer information, make commitments and promises, and honor those commitments and promises. In a level two relationship, the helper is authentic and expresses her doubts about a particular diagnostic process or intervention that the client proposes and is willing to pay for. And she would count on the client to express his doubts about where the helping process is leading if he had such doubts. In a level two relationship, the helper would ask sincerely from time to time, is what we are doing really helping? And she would expect the client to give an honest answer. So what we're gonna do, the time now is 9:19. I love that day. I love that time. I love that those numbers, my favorite numbers. And we are going to reconvene tomorrow with this chapter. It's a long chapter. This is a long chapter, and it's going to take us probably another 2 sessions to get through it. Probably. Yeah, it's going to take us another 2 sessions to get through it. So we'll be done with this chapter probably on today's Thursday, Friday. We're going to be off on Saturday and Sunday, I believe. We'll see. But we will come back tomorrow. And we're going to talk about task and goal related personalization. That's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to outline it so that I know where we left off at. I have to get my day started. I'm going to donate, I believe I'm going to donate blood today, as long as my levels are up to par. So I'm going to go. I'm going to do something to make me feel good today. I'm going to take some NRG so that I have some energy and focus because I'm tired today. So I'm going to get some energy and focus for the rest of the day. And I want you all to do something to make you happy. Get some fresh air, call a family member, a loved one. I don't know, do something, whatever it is for you. I'm going to do my hair. That's going to make me happy. And I'm going to enjoy this wonderful day. Blessings and love. See you later. Bye for now. SGL, Serena J. Lewis signing off. Thank you for joining.